Sidor just crossed 1 million gross
For the year?
in the last 10 months, yeah.
You just hit live, you know that, right?
Yep.
Last 10 months?
Yep.
Dope.
Crazy.
So gross. So nasty.
Laravel doesn't scale. Or something, I don't know.
Something like that.
Holy crap, this week has been wild. I'm getting my second shot tomorrow morning too.
Awesome.
Preparing my body for that.
Awesome. Yep. That's good though. Congrats, man. We've been hanging out with friends. We saw some people last weekend. We saw some people this weekend. We're seeing some people next weekend. It's amazing. It's amazing. So I'll wait for the stream when people actually show up, but I have a funny story about that. Actually, let's see if Joe shows up. Bellina. Fun fact. Bellina is the Italian word for whale. Which makes sense.
Baleen comes from?
Because it's all Docker. I thought the same thing too. I think it has to be, right? It's got to be. But yeah, like Docker, because it's got a little fail whale. That's Twitter. But you know.
Yeah.
Baleen. It's the stuff, the little filtery stuff on the. I went to summer camp at the National Seashore.
It's their teeth, basically.
Basically, yeah. But it's made out of it's kind of like keratin, right? Like it's just pure fingernail material.
Yeah. Imagine that on a chalkboard.
I gotta find a better camera, like semi-permanent camera setup, because this whole setting up and breaking it down in my main workspace, it's not working. Like I gotta wonder if do I need a space that's just primarily the camera, and then I can just throw my laptop down and do this? You know what I mean?
Get a tripod.
That's not my workspace. Well, yeah. But even then, it's encroaching on my I have to set it up and break it down, and I don't know. Yo, Tomas.
So Thomas.
Tomas is in the house, wielding that Twitch band hammer with a plum.
I could just go to bed right now, you know?
I feel that. But you can't. We gotta entertain. Or something. Whatever it is we do here, we have to do it. It's probably not entertaining.
Talk amongst yourselves.
Thomas, I haven't caught up with anyone in a while, so it's the feeling's mutual.
What's up?
Literally on video calls pretty much the entire day. Pair programming in the morning, and then quad programming. I don't know what's it called when when I'm typing and 3 people are watching.
A problem. Interesting. We could talk about that.
Got to have yeah. We will. We can. We can. What's up, Joanna? Sewing Nerd Studios. Joanna came over. Let's call her Joe. I'm just gonna call her Joe. I don't know why I keep saying Joanna. I have to clarify. It's Joe. She's Joe. She came over last weekend and we played Pandemic Legacy. Caught up on our second round of our game.
What is that? I don't know what that is.
So there's 2 pieces to this. So Pandemic is a cooperative board game where you and 3 or 4 other people attempt to save the world from being overrun by a virus. And so everyone kind of works together to move around the board and try to eradicate 4 different viruses before they take over.
That sounds pretty fictitious.
I know, right? And so Pandemic Legacy, that itself is a fun game. There's a couple of versions and expansions and whatever, right? Pandemic Legacy is they took the same game board and a lot of the same rules, but each time you play it, the game changes permanently. So like you play the game in seasons or like months. So the game has 12 months, and so every month you play, there's a bunch of side effects that affect how the game is played moving forward. New rules, stickers that you have to place on things, different cities around the world like get destroyed and you can't do stuff there. You know, like everything's permanent. So
Sounds a lot like a card game. Somebody told me once where the rules, like, only one person knows the rules, and the rules are largely made up, and so you have to learn the rules by like playing.
is that like we didn't play test this or something, or like I don't know.
I forget. It was like years and years and years ago, but I just recall that only one person knew the rules, and you had to learn them as you go, and you weren't allowed to share them if you figured one out.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Is this like an actual game or just kind of like a made up like
A made-up card game.
party thing? Yeah. I played a game once with some friends where we literally just made up the game as we went. Like we just got blank cards and we just started writing rules down and just tried to build a game based off of like doing whatever you want.
That's called life.
Just got real there for a second. Too real, Sean. Too real. Thanks, Joe. I'm glad you don't hate me. Do you not hate me, or do you not hate me using it? I don't like. I'm sure you probably hate me using it. Anyway, I can stop now. But the last time that we played Pandemic Legacy with Joe was February 2020. Not going to say that, we caused a pandemic or anything, but
It's your fault.
kind of awkward. A little bit. A little awkward. Aw.
Have to roll this cord up quick.
Heyo. Yeah, that's it. Now we played again this
Fantastic
weekend, and now
foreshadowing.
we either ended it or made it worse. Returnal. Mr. Eckert, we missed you. Now the references have lost me.
Animaniacs.
I mean,
I recall
remember
the Animaniacs.
They're
What's up,
crazy. They're zany to the max, Sean.
I'm fading slowly here. It's like
I was
I'll
counting
fall-
you to carry me this week.
I fall asleep with my microphone.
Apparently, there's a whole fried chicken sandwich war going on right now. You aware of this?
Yeah.
What's your fried chicken sandwich of choice, Sean?
I don't know. They're all very, very similar. None of them are going to compare with like our homemade fried chicken sandwich. So,
Homemade, huh?
or, non-fast food prepared, non-mass
sure.
produced prepared chicken sandwich. But I like a Nashville chicken sandwich with a pickle on top. That's what I like.
What's the Nashville style? That's like jalapenos and stuff, right?
No, it's super. It's like spicy. It's just a spicy breading on the chicken. But you just like slap it on a piece of white bread.
Oh, okay. Not like a roll or something.
Mm-mm. No. Otherwise, they're mostly like pretty good. Chick-fil-A's is pretty good. McDonald's is okay. Zach's, back in the day, I used to hit up a place called Guthrie's a lot, which I can only compare to Zaxby's. And Zaxby's is not as good as Guthrie's, but Zaxby's isn't bad, or it used to be not bad.
Thomas, I love it. I don't want my chicken that way, but
Blue on the inside. Yikes.
all right. I'm just gonna be back in a flash.
All right.
Keep them entertained, Sean.
Yeah, Guthrie's was solid. But actually, when Paul was driving around in his van, I give him like the tour of like, you got to go to this place, you got to go to that place. It was a joke about American politics. I've stopped paying attention mostly to American politics. Mm-hmm. Rockwell. No fading. Office politics. I've got no office to go into. It's just me. Just me. Oh, you're actually having a fried chicken sandwich. I'm so hungry right now. That's probably why I'm so tired, because I haven't eaten much food today. It's been a long week. Got a 3-day weekend coming up. A half-day Friday coming up. So it's basically the weekend at this point. That's what it feels like. A couple of tickets in review. Yeah, I had Monday off too.
Three-day weekend.
Well, I took Monday off specifically. The U.S. side of Metal Lab didn't have Monday off. This last Monday off, that is.
Right.
I went on a canoe trip or a kayak trip.
That sounds nice.
Yeah, did a 10 miles worth of kayaking on Monday.
Wow. How'd Watson do?
He just chilled.
Didn't try to like catch any fish or
He jumped in
bald
once,
eagles?
and then he very quickly realized he couldn't touch, and then he just like tried to get back in the kayak real fast, but it was an inflatable one, so it wasn't super low to the water, so we had to like help him up. But he was wearing a life vest, so he had a handle on the back. It was pretty easy to like
That's awesome.
hoist him.
All dog. He just needs a handle 24/7, right? Just
Yeah, just hoist him back up. Yeah, he's not like afraid of water. He just doesn't prefer to be swimming.
interesting.
Yeah, but he did fine. He sat on the front where his butt wouldn't get wet, or his like feet wouldn't get wet, and his butt wouldn't get wet. Well, let me see if I can upload one of these. There it is. I wonder if I can share. Here we go. Bring this over here. Winona swims. Sabrina, yeah, Watson's not buoyant at all.
He's just all muscle, man.
Yeah, he's there
There
he
we
is.
go. Look at that. Fearless explorer.
So here is his concerned face. He was concerned whenever anybody else went in the water and he couldn't see their body, he could only see their head, he'd become very concerned.
Mm-hmm.
And so one lady went swimming. She jumped in completely, was just like swimming around. And Watson was on the shore at this point, and he started howling at her.
Oh my God.
He like howled until she came back, and then he ran up to her and was like, "You okay?" kind of thing. But yeah, he didn't. he didn't enjoy it when other people disappeared into the abyss.
That's a good boy. The goodest of boys.
All right, I got one more. We got one more.
All right. We got one more update from the Watson verse.
What you want to see? You want to see?
What's that? Hold on. We have one more image coming in from the field. It's an image of Watson. Can we get that up on the screen?
Let's see here. Let me open with preview. Okay, we got a tabbed interface. I think this should work. You want to hear Watson snore on the podcast?
I want to hear what Watson thinks about TypeScript.
He doesn't think about it. There he
Aw.
is.
There he is.
That's him keeping his feet dry. Yep. And then there's I have to share this tab separately, I think. Good grief. All
Oh,
right.
you have another tab there. I can see the tab.
Yeah, but I already clicked on it and it won't update. All right, stop screen, plus, share screen, window.
This is quality. This is
There we
quality
go.
right here.
There he is. So he kept on like
Oh my god.
walking on the side. Like he'd be in the middle and I'd be in the front, or like Jamie would be in the front. And so he'd walk up to the front and sit, and then he'd have to go back to the middle.
Sure.
And he would walk over whoever
Sure.
was
Of
in
course.
front.
Yeah, how else? I mean, it's literally impossible any other way.
Right. Yeah. So he just jumped on me. And I'm surprised we didn't have any capsizes or anything with it.
I was gonna say, I think the inflatable part probably helps.
Helps a lot, yeah.
Yeah. I've never seen an inflatable kayak. That's a thing.
Oh, you can see the mouse.
There's a mouse. Oh, the cursor.
Yeah, sorry.
I was like, why is there a mouse in your boat?
Watson has a friend. Watson has a pet. It's a mouse. It goes in the pocket in his life jacket. Anyway, yeah, it was good. Came home sunburnt and exhausted, but it was good.
Good.
Watson, I'd never seen Watson so tired in my life.
Well,
He slept the whole next day.
it's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Shall we get the show on the road?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah. All right.
Boop, 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 boop. All right, I pushed the button.
I am live. It's your turn to clap because I say so.
All right, ready?
Sure.
1, 2, 3. I get my second shot tomorrow, Thomas.
I am fully vaccinated.
Yeah, it's not like Thomas Watson does not. He doesn't float. He swims very, very fast, but he does not float, and I think that's partly why he swims so fast. 'Cause he's like slowly going down as he approaches the shore.
He's got some momentum.
Well,
working in his
so
favor.
like Jamie was swimming, and he was on the edge of like this cliff kind of thing, like a cliff in the water, that is. And so he knew that his feet were about to go over, and so he would just kind of like lean. So she grabbed him by the handle and just pulled him into the deeper water, and his eyes they just got huge, and he shot like a rocket back to shore. So he's a good swimmer. He just doesn't want to do it.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Throw him in the deep end and
Well, then he laid down behind the kayak and put his head between his paws, like that. He's like, "Don't do it again." So he didn't.
if I can't see you, you can't see me.
Yeah, but yeah, it's been long week, like knowing getting the second shot, which I've heard some people say they didn't have any side effects. The second shot of Moderna, and I've heard some people say that was the worst one. So who knows what'll happen?
I didn't. I didn't have any issues. I don't know, anecdata, but Jess and I were both fine.
Yeah, and then like Monday was off, which was great, and then it was like a sprint of a week because the client's doing a release tomorrow morning, and
shipping on a Friday, brilliant.
I don't. Yeah, well, it's Friday afternoon because the person that's doing the cut is like in
Even
England.
better.
He's in Europe, so luckily it's not going to prod. It's going to like internal company testing, but. Yeah,
it's gonna
so
stay there until Monday or Tuesday when someone looks at it again.
This project has been like a kind of a struggle in that sense, like kind of a push and a pull of kind of just like two, I don't know, not philosophies, but we're on our side, we're trying to do like planning, and we're trying to have deliverables and deadlines, and we're trying to keep the planning out like at least a few weeks ahead of dev, like so that way like design's done and wrapped by the time it gets to dev and all that stuff. But on the flip side, the client does not operate that way. They're a startup. They move quickly. And so we have this weird kind of world right now where we're still operating on 2-week sprints. Maybe I should change that, but we're still operating on 2-week sprints, and things kind of change a week at a time. So the current sprint that we're on doesn't end tomorrow, but the QA release is cut tomorrow. So it's kind of like, okay, first part of this week is completely unrelated to what we're doing next week, even though they're the same, same sprint. So anyway, yeah, so they had Monday off, or our dev team had Monday off. I was off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday to like knock out everything in a spreadsheet.
Yeah, right. 3 days is a lot less than 4 days, 4.5 days.
It's a lot less than 4.5 days. And then especially knowing that tomorrow morning, by the time we show up for stand-up, it'll have been cut already. So, tonight was like, this evening was like the last, time for this release where we could do, MR review and make sure we merged everything in and buttoned everything up. And then one of our devs is, out tomorrow through Tuesday. So, we're still down a person mentally after whatever time on Thursday. They're like, I'm checking out for how many days. So which can't blame them. So yeah, it was kind of like a mad dash to hurry up and wait tomorrow. So yeah.
And then the long weekend ahead of that, I assume you have Monday off.
Yeah, I had Monday off. Yeah, most of them do too. But again, they have some, like the person that we're working with mainly is in England, so they don't have Monday off.
Right.
So they'll be doing stuff. So I'm sure I'll show up on Tuesday and there'll be a spreadsheet full of stuff to attend to. So
I'm sure.
Yeah.
Our thing's a little weird because Dockyard normally works Monday to Thursday, and then Friday is their Dockyard days. Except for where there's a week with a Monday holiday. In that case, they just don't get a Dockyard day, and so so they just work Tuesday through Friday. So
right.
As a contractor, I kind of lose a day because now I don't have my Friday to work on Roadham Radio, and I'm sure as hell not working on Monday. So yeah, I'm just gonna have to finagle that or make it up somewhere. I can do whenever. It doesn't have to be during normal hours, but they highly recommend it. So I'm still doing so much work in parallel, and we've got a new guy coming on our team next week, so it's like I really got to be there.
Are you have you picked up anything useful that you've taken back to RHR?
In terms of what?
Anything?
Oh, okay. Well, I just haven't had a lot of time, honestly. Nothing technical really, in terms of like tech stack or whatever. Definitely learning a lot about process and just flows and strategies for documenting and keeping things kind of in check just as things are moving quickly. Not super applicable to RHR because that's a team of one versus this, which is a team of many.
Yeah.
So nothing really to note right now, but it's just kind of percolating in the back of my mind, some of the things that I'm picking up, and luckily I get to talking about them here and kind of put some words to them,
Sure. You're using LiveView, right?
All
project?
LiveView, not a single, well, it's not true. I was going to say not a single line JavaScript. That's a lie.
Not a single line of non-dependency JavaScript.
Yeah, there's a little bit of like, oh, we needed a drag and drop thing, so we pulled in sortable JS, right? But like basically zero JavaScript, effectively no JavaScript. But yes, all LiveView. Yeah, every page is a LiveView. Every component, reusable component that we've written so far has been live components or live views, etc. Yeah.
How do you wire in like an external dependency to LiveView? If I remember correctly, there was some sort of hooks you can plug into, right?
In terms of like a JavaScript dependency?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple parts to LiveView. There's obviously the server component that runs on the server where you have these isolated processes with the state management and stuff. But on the client end, there's also a LiveView like .js client or whatever. It's just a regular npm dependency you can pull in. I think it's just a single file, if I'm being honest. And that does have the concept of hooks. So when you bind or when you mount something in the DOM, you can tell it like, hey, use this. It's not even a name. It just uses object as my hooks, and they just provide a couple of callbacks that allow you to do things like similar to any sort of like view mixin or anything like that, where like you can push things up, you can receive the state, you can respond to events and state changes and stuff like that. It's very rudimentary, but it's enough of an escape hatch to kind of get you where you need to be if you need that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I remember that. I recall this now. I'm looking at the JavaScript interop doc from LiveView. I dropped it in the chat as well. And I remember like hooks dot some member, and then you have like mounted or a few different lifecycle events. That's right. Yeah. So basically, it's pretty similar to hooking a non-React or non-Vue lib into React or Vue templates.
Yeah, exactly. It's yeah, and it's all using Webpack behind the scenes, right? So it's just and these callback those kind of hook things are very, very simple. They're literally just, they're not even classes, they're just plain old objects with a couple callback functions defined in them. It's very similar to sort of how not Alpine, but what was the
Stimulus?
Basecamp one? Stimulus. It's kind of similar to how Stimulus works, where you just kind of point your DOM at this JavaScript thing via an attribute, and it all just kind of wires itself up. So,
yeah, I mean, it sounds like it's pretty simple use cases for you so far. Have you run? I guess the answer would be no, but I was going to ask like if you've run in any situations where that's not quite enough. I guess the main thing is like you should probably, in designing and your approach to building the application, that thought that this is a web app should sort of like be front of mind, right? So, because kind of like when you're building a spa, you can sort of like break any rule you want to, for better or worse, right? But it seems like with this one, you probably, or with LiveView, you probably want to have that frame of mind of like we're building not a traditional to like, I don't want to say traditional to mean like you're putting it in a box, but there are certain rules that should be followed, right?
Yeah, and I mean, listen, someone on our team designed a fully functional date time picker with time zones in LiveView, and just freaking like he just whipped that up, and it just freaking works great.
That's
yeah,
wild.
like it looks amazing. You can go between the months, and you can it just looks like a traditional month view. Click the thing, select the times. Like that was amazing. That was just kind of like whoa, blew my mind. How like that's a complicated thing to do, and it's all server side, man.
Yeah. Have you played with Surface at all? Or are you guys just doing vanilla?
I have not looked at Surface at all. No, I don't think. I mean, LiveView itself is not even 1.0, so we're already kind of bleeding edge, right?
Sure. That
Surface is super bleeding edge, and I honestly don't even know anything about it other than people keep raving about it.
Surface. I'm making sure I have Surface right. Is it there? Because there's one where it's rendering. One's for rendering UIs with like connected and services across, right? And then there's another one for LiveView.
I'm sorry, I don't know. I think Surface is the one where it's basically a UI, componentized UI library
that's right.
Sort of makes LiveView look and behave more like a React style thing.
That's the one I'm looking for, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's Surface.
Let me go back to Surface here. Yeah, Surface.component. Now this, okay, I'll drop the links here in the show notes here. This reminds me of Livewire for Laravel. So I guess like, Livewire, not Livewire, sorry, LiveView. Now I'm going to confuse all the terms, right? So LiveView itself.
It's Active Live View.
Active LiveView, yeah. So LiveView templates itself are, you can render separate templates, right? So it's kind of like a Phoenix template, if you've ever seen that, where you have your functions that are kind of like passing in the data and then calling the template, like the place to find the template, and then it does the merging of them and everything. surface is like an abstraction on top of that, where you have the concept of components, and the components have their own state and like handlers methods, right? So surface adds this concept to live view.
I mean, I think it makes it nicer. This concept does exist in live view. It's called a stateful live component, but I get your point. This is This is supposed to be a sort of nicer way to do that.
Maybe not nicer, but more familiar, I think. Like,
Sure.
It's definitely more of a familiar way, because if we're looking at the example here, it's like a functional stateless component, def module button, and then it has prop click, prop kind, event and string, and then a render function. Like that looks like a UI component to me. You know, something that I'm familiar with. Whereas I'm looking at vanilla live view, I can piece it together pretty quickly, but it doesn't like, oh, that's a UI component. You know, that's a piece of view that I'm looking at. So,
and I'll be honest, even in our team of Docker developers, we're still figuring out what a live component really is and how it should function and how it should live in the context of the views that are implementing it. And this is actually a big issue that we ran into this week. I spent all day refactoring a live component with a bunch of other people on a call because it was implemented one way based on some assumptions. I don't want to get into details, but basically we implemented this live view or live component that was supposed to be like it's a reusable component that we can use throughout the app, right?
mm-hmm.
And we did it in a way that was basically impossible to reuse because
Right.
like of just the way it was implemented and the implementation details. And so what do? You just get on a call with Chris McCord. It's just that easy. Sean. Like you just reach over and just start a Google Meet and Chris McCord shows up. I can't explain that.
Right.
And he explained why that wouldn't work and how to fix it. And then we spent the whole afternoon doing what he told us to do.
I mean, that sounds a lot like what I do from a day-to-day basis. It's just to react. Oh, we need to change how this component is laid out to make it more reusable. Here's a pattern, whatever. You know, it sounds really, really similar to what I'm doing in React on a day-to-day basis.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And so everyone on the team is still learning, and at least we have that source of truth, Chris McCord, that we can reach out to. And you know, like before we get too far into this, you know, we only had 2 or 3 reusable live components that were structured this way, and so there, you know, we're already 2/3 of the way fixed.
Sure.
But like, it's good to iron these out, these details now, because it's just still the way that that live components and live views work is very it doesn't really match up one-to-one with any sort of existing you know, front-end framework componentized thing that you would think of traditionally.
It's more akin to something like Next, or something where you have 2 contexts happening. You have the server side of the context and you have the client side of the context. It's not exactly one-to-one, but that's in my mind what it's closer to, because you kind of have to think about where you're at in the world and where the state is in the world, and kind of reconcile the two.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it reminds me of that.
I think the biggest problem is that a lot of affordances are made in live view, the library, in the name of performance. Like performance is baked in, and that's why you have to do things in this kind of weird way. Because when you are offloading UI rendering to the server, like, you don't want overhead. You don't want a gajillion processes all trying to sync their state up. You don't want I don't know, inefficient diffing of the markup. You know, you want it to be fast. You want a small payloads across the wire. There's lots and lots and lots of considerations to make live view as performant as possible, whatever that means, whether it's in CPU cycles, whether it's in payload, whether it's in you know, updating the DOM, time to update the DOM, right? And so you have to jump through some hoops in order to get that to work, because everything is very it's super explicit, right? Like there's not a lot of magic there. You kind of have to do it yourself and know that you have to do it.
Yeah. Sidebar, thanks for following, Jerem Ashley.
Sweet.
Welcome.
Thank you.
That kind of reminds me of, like, Jaggy and I were having a chat earlier this morning, actually. Jaggy from Side Door, and we were kind of talking about like he had tweeted that he's pulling some ideas from Phoenix back into Laravel because Sidedoor is built with Laravel, and we were kind of chatting about that. Like, what are what are you looking at Phoenix? What are you pulling back? And one of the things he was kind of talking about is he likes these more, he called it engineering forward or engineering kind of focused frameworks, like Phoenix or something like Next.js maybe, where enough of the glue, like the things that are like the same across every web app is kind of there and glued together for you, but it doesn't make so many assumptions to like push design patterns or things like that on you. I mean, Phoenix pushes you into domain-driven design, but you're probably going to arrive there at some point anyway, right? Not true domain-driven design, but at least some sort of service level separation. Like you have your services separated from your web layer, separated from your persistence layer. And then you were talking about affordances made for performance. Like there's a little extra setup work. I always thought that about Ecto a little bit. Like there's a little bit more, like Ecto is super powerful and expressive, but you have to do some work to get to where you might get with like Eloquent, for example, right? Or a Prisma. Sure. But that's on that's on purpose, because if all this other stuff was flaked on top, then you end up, down the road, you always end up fighting Active Record or Eloquent or something. And so that's what Jaggy was talking about, is he's been learning to appreciate, especially now that Sidedoor is way post MVP, right? I forget how many engineers they are now, but they just hired 2 more.
Oh my God.
So yeah, they're doing really well. So these things are more on his mind now. Like, what if we didn't have, I don't know. It's like, of course, the trade-off is time to market and all this stuff, but he's definitely appreciating from a distance, like the removal of certain features in the name of, you should probably make these decisions, implement them yourself, because you probably will have to fight the decisions you didn't make. I guess implicitly they were made for you, right? But you have to fight them at some point.
Exactly. Yeah, that's a really good way to phrase it. And we talked a lot last week about you ain't gonna need it. Don't build something that you're not gonna need right now. And when you pull in a gigantic library that has a bunch of magic behind it, that's literally like, that's the Agni out of the box, right? Like it's making a lot of assumptions that maybe there's always exceptions. I think the exception is the rule, right? Like I'm always kind of trying to think of the edge case, because the happy path is easy. Like anyone can see the happy path, but it's the graceful handling of those edge cases that really makes it powerful to be able to have those escape hatches and just do everything explicitly and a little more granularly. I mean, Active Record default scopes, or just scopes in general, like what a nightmare. Default scopes is the big one. Do you ever use default scopes in Active Record?
I came around Active Record when there were like enough blog posts that were like, don't do it.
Okay.
So I never tried.
It sucks because it's the most implicit thing possible, and it just worms its way into every single possible query you could do. When you start to join on things, and suddenly it complains at you, or you do an aggregate thing and it complains that your some field you referenced in the default scope is not included, and then you have to unscope it, and there's like 3 different ways to unscope, and sorry, I'm just getting triggered just thinking about it. And the worst part is that I still have default scopes in Remote Ham Radio. They're in there. I'm afraid to pull them out because I have no idea what's going to break, because it's implicit. It's everywhere. It just has tentacles in every single query. And it's like, what are going to be the ramifications of pulling this thing out? I just have to be explicit about removing it. It's really bad.
So polyleven's like the worst. Yeah, like so on my screen I'm sharing right now, I just searched for Active Record default scope. Let's see here. Why default scope is a bad idea. Why using the Rails default scope often recommended against. Don't use default scope ever. Why we should avoid default scope. Blah blah blah. Yeah. So
the only one that's missing is Rails default scope considered harmful.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Can you search
right?
for that? See if that exists.
Yeah. Harmdul.
Oh no, it's not there. It says anti-pattern.
Not word for word. It didn't search Twitter. I'm sure it's on Twitter somewhere, right?
I'm gonna write this blog post and get all the traffic, Sean.
Yeah, that's funny.
But that's just one microcosm of, like you said, bringing in the whole package too. What was the original point we were trying to make? I don't know.
Oh, yeah, like you were talking about live view, how there are some things that are maybe a little bit obtuse, but they're that way for a very specific reason.
Yep. And it's I really feel for Chris McCord because he's so steeped in it, and he sees the Matrix, and not a lot of other people do, and it's hard to document all that reasoning, especially when things are changing and this thing is still not 1.0. So it's a real problem, honestly. Like it's no one to blame necessarily. It's just the way it is right now.
Here, our guest. How many clicks does it take to open an image? My God.
They
On
really,
Google.
really, really, really don't want you to get to that source image. What are you doing here? I can see your screen.
We're trying to bring up our friend Chris McCord.
Good job. You task failed successfully.
Hey, blame Google. I can imagine that would be difficult. I mean, like, I haven't used LiveView, really. I mean, I haven't written Elixir in however 9 months or something like that. It's fun to observe from the outside, and especially fun to observe like the people outside of LiveView kind of pushing it forward. For example, like Surface existing and things like that. So, it's cool. Like if I can bring up Laravel's LiveWire, right? That's the one. Yeah, LiveWire. So it's Hotwire is Rails.
I'm screwing with you.
Yeah. But let me pull up some docs on this. But when I saw Surface, I was like, oh, this reminds me a lot of LiveWire components, because it's a similar thing where you have a component and it has state, but it's kind of like shaped like a viewer or React component in that sense. Like the live view on the Elixir side is very Elixir-y, where it feels like you're working with the Gen server, right? But with LiveWire and Surface, it looks like a view component to me. So
I gotta send you a link here. Hold on, I gotta find it. Oh no. Oh my God. Sorry.
what have you done? What have you done?
All right, I need to share my screen because this is too good.
Okay.
Sorry, hold on. Oh no, I can't. Yeah, okay. Share screen. I'm sorry. Hold on. Is this it? All right.
You okay?
This is hilarious. This is so good. All right. So there was this project called React.rb.
You want to zoom in on that bad boy?
Yeah. Is that how's this? Is that good?
You're fired.
React.rb.
For anyone listening, he minimized when I asked him to zoom in. He did the opposite of what I asked.
So what React.rb was, I wish there was a code sample here, but it was a way to write React components in pure Ruby.
What?
Yeah, I actually wrote a project in this. I'll pull up a code sample later. But what's great is it says React.rb has been renamed to React.rb and moved here, okay? So we click here. All right, React.rb, now Hyperloop.
Oh, no.
Ruby Hyperloop, and it just says React.rb has moved. Now we're 2 repositories deep of moved repositories. And then, so we go React.rb has moved. It's just a README file. Website, rubyhyperloop.org. Ready?
Just gone. Yeah, Thomas thinks this is a prank.
Wait. Hold on.
Now called Hyperstack.
I didn't even get this far. Oh no, now we're on to Hyperstack. This has got to be a troll, right?
Yeah, this is wild.
Hyperstack. Oh wait, this one's archived. Amazing. These are all archived. Anyway,
when was the last commit?
2018.
2018. Yeah. Yeah, it's hard. It's hard to really. Oh, hyperstack.org is live though. Paul says.
Oh, don't look at my stuff.
Oh no, you doxed yourself.
That's my Belina dashboard. We'll get to that later.
Yeah. it's hard to like buy into some of that stuff because like similar story, right? So I've been hanging. Okay, don't say anything, but I've been hanging out on Twitters, okay, and anytime Tanner Lindsay complains about TypeScript or asks a question about TypeScript, someone drops in. You go look on Twitter. Someone will drop into the thread and say, just use Rescript and you don't have this problem. I was like, okay, what is Rescript? So I look up Rescript. Let's go here. Bloop. Something. Okay, cool. Rescript playing. I click on it. And it's a similar thing. Previously known as Buckle Script and Reason.
Two things? How can it be previously known as two things? Do we have multiple inheritance here?
Yeah, I don't know. But that's, I don't know. It makes me, okay, it makes me uncomfortable thinking about, I get like you want it, people might be familiar with Reason or something like that. And you want people to know like, oh, we are now Rescript. But as someone on the outside looking at it, it's like, I'm just going to go back to TypeScript because that's not going to go away.
Yeah. How many rebrands do you need before, it's a red flag?
Yeah. I mean, Rescript looks cool, right? Like, I don't want to take anything away from it, but yeah, it's kind of like, I would probably play around with this. I'd probably explore a bit, but I would never use it for work. I would never pick it for a project.
I found my project that uses this Ruby React RB thing.
Oh no.
This is way off topic. I'm sorry. This is all getting cut, but this is just too good not to share. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah, I just put it back up.
Oh, okay. So this is Brahi. What it does is it's a it renders when satellites are going to pass over, like their positions as they're passing overhead.
That's cool.
And named after Tycho Brahe. Anyway, yeah, let's dig into this. I think this is it. Sorry, there we go. Lib, no, that's not it. App, React RB. Let's go to the components. Here's our satellite table.
Oh, okay. So this looks like Rails template to me.
It's like a Haml or whatever. One of
Yeah,
those.
Haml. Like you have table do,thead do, tr do, tbody do.
This is an abomination. And you know what? It just friggin' worked.
Oh wait, this is using React RB.
Yes.
I just see the inheriting from React component base. Oh my. Okay, so this is wild.
Yep.
It reminds me of like Opal or whatever that project was.
It's based off of Opal, actually. That's
Okay.
the runtime for it. What part blew my mind was not this. Like, this is all like, okay, this is how they tell you to do things. You've got this params thing, right? Whatever. This is fine. What blew my mind was that I had a plain old Ruby library for calculating doing all this crazy calcs, satellite calcs, right? This is like crazy BS math that I just pulled from some thing, right?
So I'm looking at a bunch of like date math. It looks like.
Yeah. This thing just runs. It just converts this to JavaScript and runs it in the browser.
Wow.
All of this nonsense just works.
Wow.
It blew my mind, man. Yeah.
That's yeah. And so Paul was asking, is the param adder and from the last file, is that a prop? Like,
dude, do you see the last?
Is that a React prop?
I last looked at this 5 years ago.
This is wild. Is this open? Can I put this in the show notes?
Yeah, absolutely. It probably still runs.
That's wild. Yeah, yeah. And then
param
Sultan.
sats. I guess that's props.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And type hash, does that get converted to a prop type?
This is an array of hashes, I think.
Sure, but does it get converted to a prop type?
No, there's
You get
no
snippy
typing
with
here.
get snippy with me on
There's
air.
no typing here. Come on.
You forgot to
forgot to.
forgot to prefix that with knit. Yeah, that's wild. Like Sultan is saying that reminds him of Kotlin X.html.
Interesting.
So I haven't even like I'm trying to think like actually the short stint with Laravel was the last time I worked with any sort of like view that was rendering HTML that was not Vue or React.
I'm sorry.
Because even
I need to
early
pay
on,
attention now.
DK was actually no. So early DK was not server rendered HTML. So yeah, it would have been Elixir templates were the last like sort of server like non JavaScript Vue library that I had written templates with.
$10 to anyone who can actually get that running locally with the screenshot.
$10. Challenge accepted. Yeah, that's wild. So I don't know. It's just hard for me to try to think about. I guess like back when I was doing regular server rendered templates, I would sort of just grumble to myself and wish I was writing Vue templates at that point.
Yeah, I mean,
I've never really truly been comfortable making the Vue layer in like something that wasn't Vue or React.
something that's not in the browser
Yeah,
natively. Yeah,
right.
it's just so interesting.
I mean, it's probably just muscle memory at this point, right? Like, I guess back then, I had like kind of learned how to do full stack stuff, but I never really got good at doing the front end side of the full stack stuff. Like, that's, Rails templates and Rails view helpers or whatever, and Phoenix templates and Phoenix view helpers and all that. I made all the classic mistakes. And then when we discovered Vue, that made sense. And so I just kind of like held on to that. And so whenever I was not writing Vue templates, I was like, I wish this were Vue because it made sense to me. So I think that's probably part of it.
And that's why I'm sorry, I forget all the names. What's the one where it's like you can render it and then just kind of hot loads it in? The new thing.
Oh, Remix?
Yeah. Remix? Was it Remix?
Yeah.
But it uses Vue.
Oh, it uses Vue?
Yeah. It wasn't Nux, but it was like a
Gritsum?
Wow, no, I'm sorry.
Vite?
Was it Vite? I think it was Vite.
Vite's the build tool.
No. There was a thing where you could basically write server rendered things that would just hot mount Vue components when they loaded in and get like that good first run experience. But it actually starts running the thing.
Yeah. I think Laravel does something like that.
Well, anyway, that's kind of the best of both
Oh,
worlds.
no,
Right?
you're talking about I just had it. Inertia.
Maybe
You're talking about
it's
Inertia
Vite.
JS.
I don't
No.
know.
It's 100% Inertia. Here.
We are so off the rails at this point. I'm so sorry.
It's definitely this.
There's too many libraries, Sean.
So
Too many JavaScript libraries.
So for people that aren't aware of Inertia, so Inertia basically is a glue between your back end, like Laravel or Rails, and your front end that could be a Vue or React. And so what Inertia does is it handles, you basically give Inertia a view, and it handles creating the data and like taking the data from the API and passing it as props to your components. And it also does like a bunch of routing and stuff.
No, this is not what I was thinking.
No.
I'm sorry.
Well, this is, if I had to do that today, this is what I would use.
Oh my god. Hashtag tech of the month.
Oh, Paul's taking you up on your challenge, and he's getting a bundler error with thin server. You're gonna owe Paul $10 by the end of this recording.
You probably need it's probably an OpenSSL thing. Thin 1.7. Is that the web server? I don't even remember. Ruby 263. No, yeah, you got to go old school. Anyway, let's try to get back on track here because this is gonna be a pain in the ass to edit.
I've never really felt comfortable.
Thank you, Paul.
With the template stuff, the server side stuff that wasn't Vue or React.
Yeah, it's so interesting to me because it's just completely the opposite. Like, I get the value of writing views, Vue, client side views. It has a ton of value. It's super powerful, but I've literally never done it other than for a single page application, which is like a whole other can of worms, right? So
yeah,
seeing what you did with DK, where you started with server rendered, and you just slowly migrated page by page over to these pages that were just pulled from the API and just rendered, and then eventually just went full Nuxt, right? That was a cool progress to see, to watch unfold.
That was wild. I can't believe. Yeah.
I can't believe you pulled that off, to be honest.
Well, I mean, Paul was there too, so Paul is like a superhero when it comes to that kind of stuff. That was the whole thing. Yeah, Paul is like saying that's the whole thing. Yeah, it's really interesting now. Like looking at more meta frameworks. Like I've talked about Blitz in the past, and now I've been talking about Remix. And I really, I bought a license to Remix because I like their vision and I wanted to support it. And also, I could technically say like, oh, I'm doing R&D for MetaLab, right? So there's like many reasons because I've been talking to people about it anyway. But after using it, it's like, okay, this is nice. It's like not too much, just enough. Like I can write the view, like I can use the view tooling that I'm used to in that like React, like to write the views. But I don't have to. It's not it's just it boils down to just like a regular web app. Like you could not even include the scripts tag that adds the React that boots up afterwards, and it just is a working website. I think I was showing you, I made a form on the side project, lowercase f, right? It's just HTML form that does a regular form submit, and it just worked. And I was like, this is strange because every other like framework I've tried, meta framework or whatever, I have to pick up all these other abstractions, whether it's React Final Form, React Hook Form, Formake, all the different options, right? Like that's what I liked about Remix was just like, oh, it's just the web. I know that. I have experience there. So it's kind of like both worlds where I'm comfortable, right? Like I wouldn't build like a huge full scale app in it for sure. But for what I'm trying to do on my side project with Jamie, it's like perfect fit.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel like drawn towards the idea of like using the web as a platform. Like that's why I liked how Remix uses Fetch's APIs. So it uses the request object, it uses the response object, it uses the stuff that's just natively available, like to handle most of the stuff, and it feels comfortable. But I kind of like I'm drawn towards those ideas. And that's why I like to observe kind of like the Laravel side, the Elixir Live View side of things, where it kind of sits more on that side of the fence.
Yeah, I gotta say for a window of time there, we had the Nuxt stack, right? NUPHT. It was the Nuxt Phoenix, GraphQL. There's a G in there somewhere,
right?
And then
Tailwind.
We had the Nuxt stack, right?
Yeah.
And like to me, that's still in my mind as the most productive. It's in light of everything else that's out there now, it doesn't feel as productive just because you have that extra overhead of the API boundary layer. You've got the separation of this beautiful, pristine front-end Nuxt app and this beautiful server thing, and then you've got to build an API that you yourself have to consume. Like, it seems just like a lot of overhead that could just be handled by tooling, which is, I think, what a lot of the tools are trying to do now, and sort of blur that line, blur that boundary.
Yeah, I'm gonna pull up a code example here real quick too. I'll link this in the show notes as well for people that are just listening as well. But let's see here.
And Paul brings up a good point. If you have to support multiple clients, then you have to build an API. Like, there's no way around that. He claims that it's never just one website consuming the data. I will argue that if it is just one website consuming the data, then it is too much work. Like, I don't think that's a general purpose case where not everyone wants to build an API for everyone. And okay, he's just trying at this point. I got.
So like, if I'm thinking about this, like from a MetaLab context, yeah, it's probably never just going to be one, right? If people are spending this much money on these things, it's not just going to be a small MVP. It's gonna be big. Yeah, but for a lot of other things, probably not. So on the screen, again, I'll link to this file in the show notes. Here is a Remix, what they call a module. And so Remix, similar to Next, you export some basically consistently named functions. So in terms of Remix, you have a meta function, a loader function, an action function, and a default export, which is your React component. And so there are contexts happening here. So loader and action here, this happens server side. This happens in Express land. But the React component, it's rendered in Express, shipped to the browser, and then if you have the script tags in, it'll boot up a React SPA using React Router, right? So there's kind of like the lands we were talking about earlier with Live View, where it's like which land am I in, right? So like for example, in my component here, I probably don't want to use Firebase admin, right? Because then that would be shipped to the client bundle that people can look at. But in action and loader, it's totally fine. It only ever happens server side. And so the form component here, lowercase f, method post, right? You click submit. Remix handles the stitching of this, making the request, submitting the form, handling it, returning. And so when you submit this form, it calls this action function, and you get this request object here. It takes you get a request argument, and that's the request object. And so you can then, use URL search params to extract the form, the parameters out, and then you can do your things with it, right? So in my case here, if there's no user, just go back to sessions, right? Redirect them. If there is a user, then just do the thing in Firebase. You could also just straight up write SQL in here if you wanted to. It's fine. It's on the server. I mean, it's not fine to do that, but you know what I mean.
I had the same problem with Nuxt, where it was trying to figure out all my Nuxt work has been single page app, so completely client side, but even then it's like trying to figure out what's available, because I had the Electron versus non-Electron, so like I had to switch on that. It's like what code is running where, because some code had to run it natively within the context of Electron. It's a whole thing. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But the point is that if that's not explicitly called out, like just staring at this, I would have no idea about that.
Oh, for sure. Contexts. Yeah. I had to read the documentation to understand that. But yeah, because it's like half of this file runs in a completely separate place than the other half, But for me, it's a good, like I could tap into Prisma right here. So loader basically is your what is it in Nuxt? I forget. It's basically your data fetching data. Async data. Yeah, it happens first before rendering the template, and then you pass an object out, or you return an object from it, and that becomes your in Remix. You use route data hook, and that's basically the data object that is returned. Right.
Boy. All right.
So yeah, it
seems like. What's so funny about this is it seems like a lot of abstractions around just bringing it back to basics. And you're trying to wrap all these things up and then apply all these HTML and HTTP. You're wrapping all these things up and trying to apply all these like web primitives to what you're trying to do. Just URLs, bare form objects or tags.
Sure. Yeah, so this is like the primitives doesn't the end stop there. So like if I wanted to make this an Ajax form submit, I can't edit this file right here, but I would just turn that into a capital F and import form from Remix. Now I've got an Ajax form. And then there's some other hooks I can use to like do, optimistic UI, or if I'm adding something to a list, if I want to add it to the list before it's done submitting optimistically, like there's a thing for that. So a lot of these abstractions are because it makes it very easy to do this progressive enhancement pretty quickly.
I was just going to ask that. Will it degrade gracefully in whatever case?
Yeah, so the demo version, the demo video I was watching, actually like for the first half an hour, this guy had JavaScript just disabled. And then he went to demonstrate capital F, and then he went to the form component, and he went to the browser. He's like, oh, right. And so then he opened it, and none of us really realized that it was disabled because it was just a normal, simple web app. And we were like, what? So yeah, it completely is backwards, or whatever, however you call it, degrades,
Yeah.
gracefully, yeah.
What was
Anyway,
that old,
like,
what was that old protocol for phones, like old school Nokia phones, where you could look at the web on them? It was like WPA or WEP, or what was that called?
I don't know,
WAP.
WAP.
WAP, Web Access Protocol, I think. Has different meaning these days.
Yeah.
I just want to know, will it degrade gracefully to WAP? Can I look at it on my Nokia?
I have no idea. But yeah, I don't know. The thing, I guess what makes me feel comfortable is like it treats like the view layers that I know are like, that's the building block, the foundation. It's not like something that I have to bolt on or figure out how to bolt on and deal with, concessions for. So, I can see how this is like why I don't need to do any of this stuff, and that's totally valid, like with Elixir templates and things. But I always found that I was able to be more efficient and expressive personally with the viewer React templates. So,
well, don't you worry. Soon enough we'll be running the full Erlang Beam in the browser, and you can just write Elixir everywhere. It'll run on the server, it'll run on the client, it'll probably run on your phone. Everything's just good. It's just got Elixir everywhere, Sean.
Yeah, what was that? I think we maybe briefly touched on it last week. I'll have to go back and look, but there's some remote development site now is basically making it so you can run Node in the browser.
Yeah.
I should really probably go look at the show notes before I even mentioned it, because
I think it was in our chat. It was in the chat.
The Notion table. Come on, you can do it.
It was in our links channel, I think.
Yeah, it's not in the show notes. But anyway, yeah, it's there was something about like people were asking about extensions or something or other, and the response was, well, as long as you can output WebAssembly, it can run. I was like, it's coming. WebAssembly is coming.
What are you doing now to prepare for WebAssembly, Sean?
Learning Go.
Fair.
No, but yeah, I don't know. Those are like I like to admire live view and things like that from afar, and I think if I were to like actually spend some time and try to become comfortable, using the view layers, it'd probably be totally fine. But I never really did. I kind of got stuck in that I really just wish this was something else mindset instead of really embracing it, which I probably should have done.
Yeah, one of the cool things about live view is the I don't know. It's not really. I think it's a cool thing is that it's really good about diffing HTML. Like that's just a big part of how live view works, right? Setting efficient diffs across the wire. And I always had this cool idea where, what if I could write an awesome view component on the client, right? Vue component that was the dumbest component that ever existed. It just took in props and emitted events, right? But in order to take in props or state or whatever, they have to be JSON. So if you could make live view efficiently diff JSON, you could basically have a live view that instead of renders HTML, renders JSON, and then just blast JSON at these client-side view components. So you could build these nice client-side, tech UIs, but still powered by the business logic that's living in your server, and it's just pushing JSON down to you. And if you just do JSON diffing, that I feel like that gains you something.
I feel like that's pretty close to what Inertia does. The thing I was kind of mentioning earlier. I mean, it's probably not dead on, but that's pretty. I feel like that's pretty close to what Inertia does, because there's a server side aspect of it, and it just handles like the stitching together, like you're talking about, that layer of like, oh, we have this data now, and now I have to know like what kind of props I need to send to this component, and stitch it together correctly. And then I need to handle, if there is server side rendering, I need to handle like the rehydration step too. That's what kind of Inertia does. So
Interesting.
Yeah, it removes that glue that you'd have to kind of write yourself. It seems really interesting. Like I've never used it myself, but I've heard really good things about it. So, yeah, I guess like the really cool thing is that there's so many options, right? Like there's
Is
like
that
a
good?
well, I think that there's so many people, like there's a paradigm for everyone that where they can, build something and be productive. I think that's probably the best thing. Like no one's ever going to 100% agree on the best way to do something, right? Or the best language to do something. We need what we need really is a universal translator like Star Trek. You just chuck whatever code you want into it, and it runs on whatever platform. I guess that's WebAssembly, right? But
We need the Babelfish.
that's right. That's right. But I don't know.
Well, that all works until you want to write React in Ruby. Apparently, that's impossible now. So
Oof. Yeah, I don't even know how I would approach that.
just don't.
Yeah. Well, I didn't really have any of that stuff to talk about today on my schedule or on my agenda.
Nope. This is how this goes. What are we at? We're at 15 minutes. I have a quick bit of follow up from last week.
Okay.
This is on topic. This is in our show notes. I was talking last week about Balena, which, fun fact, Balena, to the best of my knowledge, is the Italian word for whale, which makes sense because it uses Docker, and Docker has a cute little whale logo. So there you go. That's, I think, where that comes from. I was playing around with Balena on some local servers and stuff that I had, making sure it all worked, and it was kind of working. And it's still working, and we actually have it in production now. In a very small number of our sites, we're slowly transitioning them over. So we had to ship out 2 Raspberry Pis to new stations this week. Actually, one I'd already shipped out, and I had the person reflash the SD card. I sent him a link to the image. I was like, hey, download Etcher and just reflash this card and plug it in, and then I can configure it remotely. And that all just worked. And we also pre-configured a Pi here. We flashed it with the image. We mailed it out. The guy plugged it in, and the thing shows up, and it's on the network now. Like it's everything just is basically just working, which is very encouraging. We like to kind of, I hate to say move fast and break things, but we're very quick to test this new technology, especially in these sort of low risk environments where these new stations that we're adding are not super critical to like us making money, right? They're they're new stations that are sort of under development and testing and stuff. So it's fine if we try new tech with them, but we want to get as much time and experience with them as we can early on to make sure we catch all the edge cases and failure modes and etc. So we've got Balena. It's out in the world. It's running on our Pis. So far, it's working fine, and I'm still pretty happy with it. I was able to push a code update out to it. I had to make a tweak, build the image. Just kind of does the right thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah. No rsync. No wire guard.
It's almost like you're professional.
No, let's not get too far. I lied a little bit last week. I realized when I was editing the show that I mentioned that I was doing everything with shell scripts. No, I'm not doing anything with shell scripts. It's all rake tasks. Of course it's rake tasks. I run them locally. I have a whole series of rake tasks that I use to SSH into the servers and remotely run things, and also run things locally. So yeah, it's all rake in and out. No shell scripts here. Because Ruby.
Gets the job done, why not,
Hashtag Ruby. Yeah.
I think for DK in Insomnia, I had a bunch of I had a production environment and I had a bunch of endpoints I could hit with stuff because I didn't want to build a UI. So I would just use, my API client to trigger things.
Awesome. Actually, it's funny, on our Raspberry Pis, I actually have a Sinatra server running because my thought process at the time was, oh, wouldn't it be cool if I could just pull these things and get the status of them? What version of software you're running? Maybe I could do a post to have it restart itself or updated state or enable, disable, right? Wouldn't it be perfect to just have a little web server running on there? And that is still in there. It's still freaking running Sinatra on every single box. It only listens to localhost. It's never going to, be a security concern, but I don't know if we're actually even using it anywhere. It's just running port 80 or 4, 5, 6, 7 or whatever it is. just listening and waiting, just waiting.
Forever. Just think about the satellites that are in deep space right now. Just listening.
Well, if I could pull up Brahi, I could tell you exactly where they are.
Just listening.
Actually rewritten that particular app like 2 or 3 times in different technologies. They're equally weird. There's one called Kepler EX. Put a link in the show notes. Is that one live view? I don't remember. I think it's a Nux thing. It might just be a view thing. Anyway. Apparently GitHub found potential security vulnerabilities in my dependencies.
Oh no. Oh no. You got the banner.
Delete. Close. Where's the close? This should have a close link right here, right? An X.
Yeah, you can't do it. Quick, nobody look.
This is Elixir 1.4, Phoenix 1.3 RC. Good times, man. Good times.
I mean, DK's just hanging out, running. No one's touched it in 9 months. Probably
Wait,
even more than that.
Where's the web folder? Oh, there it is. It's under. This is old.
Oh yeah. That was cool. I am eagerly watching the developments around LiveView and the community around it and stuff.
Boy, I don't remember how this works at all. John.
What, Phoenix 1.2?
It's 1.3 RC.
Oh, okay. So you did all of that just to find a single HTML.exx file with div ID equals app.
It's got to be React, right?
I think when I first met you, you were doing some stuff with React. Just hit T. So there's Vuex right there.
Oh, there's Vue.
Yeah, in GitHub you can just slap T and search for a file. You're still he's still clicking. Slap T.
T. Oh. There. Where's it?
I haven't looked at Vue code in a while.
This looks like Bootstrap.
Ew, what is this? What is V4? What do you mean? You mean to tell me you have to memorize all these directives for your HTML?
Boy, this is a thing. Anyway, let's do this in the after show. Let's wrap this. Let's bring this ship down, huh?
Almost as bad as Tailwind. Don't say that.
Watch yourself. You're in.
Someone's gonna not know that you're saying that ironically. Change my mind. Oh man. Okay, so what were we talking about today? There's a paradigm for everyone. Change my mind. Yeah, I'll just riff off of Sultan.
We went all over the place today, man. What's the moral of the story here? Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things out there. What the hell did we even talk about here? We were just strolled down memory lane, I guess.
I'm very tired, so
Listen,
I'm just all over the place.
it's all good. There's I don't even know how to wrap this up. I'm sorry. But there's a lot of cool tech out there.
Yeah.
And it's hard to know what's going to stick around apparently. React RB probably not a safe bet. or Hyperloop, whatever it's called now. But
Rescript though, Rescript might be around.
it might be. Remix might be around. LiveView.
Remix is
Assuming
hiring.
Chris McCord doesn't get hit by a bus.
Remix is hiring
Probably continue to be around.
2 devs. Hot jobs alert. Remix is hiring 2 devs actually. What else are we talking about? Oh yeah. Rescript. What else is there?
Inertia, Veet,
Yeah. Hot jobs
Livewire,
alert.
Hotwire.
What about all these other, like, there's Hyperscript, right? That's a thing. No, native script is a thing, right?
What's that thing that Instagram does? Hyperlapse.
What is that?
Those are cool. It's like a
Oh,
time
yeah,
lapse,
yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like stabilized. Those are cool.
Native script's not the thing I was thinking of. There's a, what is it? I can't recall. I don't know. Who knows?
Sultan says that it's Java. Java will be around forever. Everything will be written in Java, much to everyone's dismay. I think Java is kind of like the cockroach. No, there's probably, I would say maybe like Fortran or COBOL is maybe the cockroach of computer languages, but Java is definitely up there. Maybe it's like the silverfish of languages.
Yeah.
Don't
I had
quote
to
me on
install Java the other day for the Firebase emulator suite.
Oof.
I did it because the emulator suite is nice.
I gotta say, Thomas, you joke about Java and JavaScript, but when I was learning JavaScript back in the Netscape Navigator days, and I'm using learning here with, air quotes, this is very, I was literally just typing stuff out of the book and not knowing what was going on. I was very confused about the difference between Java applets and JavaScript, because Java applets are like a whole thing. You can embed Java in the browser, right? You guys remember. And I was like, what does it have to do with JavaScript? Wasn't clear. Still not clear.
Do you want to run this Java applet?
Deny.
How else am I supposed to play Breakout?
Breakout. Super Breakout. Photoshop.
Yeah. Something Twitter. That's why I call it TypeScript.
That's why I call it ECMAScript 6 2020 edition. I don't even know. Actually,
2021 would be, I think,
what
the
the-
latest.
Yeah, see? Who knows? Nobody knows what the current version of JavaScript is.
Well, you can use 2021 in tsconfig.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, if anyone has any bold predictions they want to make, please let us know.
As always, you can let us know on Twitter, where Sean is apparently DNC Cast. Sean is Sean Washbot, and I'm Shrockwell.
Yeah, I'm just staying up to date, seeing what people are upset about today.
You piling on? You fanning the flames?
No, I just lurk. I don't really talk much. I just lurk. What would be next? The show notes would be next. Everything we talked about today. If you listen to the show and don't watch it on Twitch, we've got links to the files and the sites that we shared on screen. So if you want to go back and look at anything, for example, the remix module, you can head to the show notes at dnc.show.
And the offer still stands. $10 to the first person who can get Brahi working and send me a screenshot. I'll Venmo you.
I think we're starting.
Hold me to that.
We're starting a pool to see how many days from now Thomas will have banned himself on Twitch. He's coming close a few times here.
He doesn't deserve himself. Well, speaking of Twitch, we're on Twitch at Thursdays every week. Thursday is the new Friday. I keep saying that, but every week it feels more and more like it. 6 Pacific, 9 Eastern, twitch.tv/DNCcast. If you're a YouTube streamer or streaming on YouTube, also, what's our YouTube name? Is it just Does Not Compute?
Podcast.
It's, what is it? Does Not Compute Podcast.
Mm-hmm.
All smalls, no underscores, all one word. Does Not Compute Podcast in English. All ASCII characters. You got that? we're there. Come on by. We're going very off the rails. If it sounds like the show went off the rails, just wait till you hear the stuff that I had to cut out, because this is hot garbage. You can get it live, or just watch the live stream. They're all uploaded to YouTube too, and Twitch. So check them out.
And aside from Twitch, if you're not around Thursday evenings, you can join us in the Discord, where we just hang out and talk about life in shop, and we try to help each other learn and get better. We share what we're working on rather. So yeah, if that sounds interesting to you, it's a community that's welcoming. You know, we have a code of conduct. We treat each other like we want to be treated. It's a nice place. And if that sounds enticing, you should, again, check out the show notes. There'll be a link to Discord invite waiting for you. And Rockwell is gone. Nobody knows where he went. There he is.
Awkward. Yeah, I just lightly brushed the mouse, and apparently that triggered the back action on my browser. So
I see.
I just looked at it wrong. It's like the Apple TV remote. Like, just don't even bother picking it up. Just
The new one is nice though.
Is it?
Yeah. It's like 3 times as thick.
Can you actually pick it up without accidentally scrubbing through whatever you're watching?
Yep, because the scrubber is much smaller now, and there's actually a directional pad around it too. So
Right.
you don't even have
There's
to
no
use
more.
it.
There's no more diving board, is there?
That's right.
Nice.
It's pretty nice.
Got that 4K.
Mm-hmm.
Well, WWC in 2 weeks. Get a new MacBook.
Don't
It's
jinx
time.
it. Don't
It's
jinx
time.
it. Don't jinx it.
I'm making it happen.
Don't jinx it.
I'm putting those good vibes out. All right.
That was weird. The song switched to this weird, like, Lavender Town song.
All right, man.
Oh, yeah. All right, I'll see you.
Talk to you later.
Yeah, I really want one. I got my
Wait,
Apple
should we-
Card.
Wait. Are you still recording?
No.
Fine.
I'm quick.
Fine. I know. Sometimes there's like funny after show stuff that I just want to put in sometimes. It's all good. It's all good. I squoze. Usually I'm the one saying dumb shit, so I just put it at the end. But this week you had a funny thing, so I threw it in there.
What are you talking about?
Spoilers. Nothing. Don't worry about it. You never listen to the show, so
I don't.
matter. I know.
Does that upset you?
On one hand, like, it's kind of vain to listen to your own podcast, but I consider it a form of like self-reflection. I have to listen to it anyways, so whatever.
Thomas listened to
Thomas
his
listened to
episode.
his episode. He has no shame. He
Yeah.
knows what's up.
277.
You want to go back to episode 1 and listen to all of them?
No, because I'll just think about how I was sitting in a closet with a microphone hanging from the bottom of a staircase.
And now you're sitting on a Imperial starship.
I'm sitting on. I stole Jamie's chair because she's been working upstairs a lot, so I just took her chair because it's better. It
Thomas,
feels like an
you're-
Imperial throne.
You're the best people, Thomas.
I sound
The
good. Very
smartest,
smart.
The best people.
Thomas, we need you to listen or read Andy Weir's new book, and then we're going to bring you on the show. We're going to have a discussion about it. I liked it, but I have questions,
Okay.
especially around relativity.
Oh wait. I have to actually look that up. I'm sorry. The disgruntled sigh was not not what I meant. Oh, he wrote The Martian. Oh, okay.
Yeah, he wrote The
I was-
Martian. He
I was-
wrote Artemis.
Sorry, I thought you were referencing some like conservative pundit or something.
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Thought you were trolling.
No. Einstein's elevator.
elevator.
I don't know what that is.
I don't know what that is either. Wikipedia to the rescue. I'll just look up Wikipedia, Thomas. Don't worry about it. That's where I learned about all my relativistic physics. It's a good source. Oh, you beat me. The elevator thought experiment. All right. Can we have no video?
The Great Courses. What is that? But was it proven though? Was it
All right,
proven?
Go to thought experiments. Thought experiments. No, below. One more down. There you go. Yeah. Poke elevator. Light from the sun comes in as it accelerates. As it accelerates. All right. Poke a hole in the elevator. I assume the floor of the elevator, Thomas, or I guess, yeah, if you're going down, the floor of the elevator. The wall of the elevator. Oh, interesting. Does it... Okay.
I mean,
So-
yes, it has mass, right?
Well,
Very little bit. Very, very tiny amount, but
it's I think it's less about the mass and more about the frame of reference by which you're observing the light, right? Like,
has the elevator fallen over sideways?
it's not a Wonkavator, Sean.
I thought I found a loophole for a minute. I was like, this is one of Thomas's dad jokes.
You're the first one to think of that. Congratulations, Sean. Generations of physicists can figure it out. You're just like, what if it goes sideways? I love it. I love it. Well, if you're going fast, and I'm really just thinking out loud here with my very bare bones knowledge, right? If you're going fast enough, the first thought is like maybe it does bend like water, like a stream of water, because, right, like the part of like you're moving fast enough that as light is coming through, your reference has changed, so the light that came in before it is kind of below it, right? But as you go close to the speed of light at which you could actually observe this, time does slow down for you, and relative to the outside, and so maybe things aren't happening as quickly as you think, and so maybe that makes up the difference. Yeah, it's basically gravity. I mean, acceleration is gravity. They're the same thing, right? So
Yo, Paul, fire up Unity. Let's figure this out. I need you to make an elevator.
I'm sure
And a light source?
Unity actively. I'm sure if you use basic object, or what's it called, physics object or whatever, I'm sure that accurately represents reality, right? It does bend. It is the same principle that bends light around large planets. Acceleration. Oh, okay, yeah, because acceleration, yeah.
Aren't even deterministic.
Oh,
Tom,
gravitational lensing. So it's the same thing from like Interstellar, right? Where you've got the black hole and you've got the wom.
I just want Thomas to come over, and I want to like watch some of these movies. Like I want to watch Interstellar, and then I want him to read this book, Project Hail Mary, and then I just want him to just freak out about it for a little bit. You know? You know?
I do know.
Fun fact, I donated money to Bill Nye for his solar sale thing back in the day. Well, not Bill Nye, but Planetary Society, rather. And so I gave them money one time, and to this day, I still get Planetary Society magazines in the mail. They sent me a pretty cool pin. Light sale. Let me find it.
Light sail. That rings a bell. Was that a There's a llama.
Yeah.
Was that a one of the space probes that was supposed to be propelled by the movement of
Yep. By light.
photons, basically? Yeah, this thing. Yep. Did it ever go?
I don't know. I stopped following it. I just thought it was cool, so I sent him a little bit of money.
Bill Nye the Science Guy. He's kind of an asshole, I guess.
What a wild concept, though. Like, light has mass, and so if you got a big enough sail, you can just ride the sunlight, like the sun waves.
Yeah, makes sense. Say
Does
wrong
it?
with this. Yeah, I mean, yeah, it does. I mean,
Light doesn't
literally,
have mass.
Voyager,
Thomas, correct me. What do you mean?
Voyager 1 and 2 both accelerated away from Earth because they were emitting. They had these nuclear power supplies that were using like thermoelectric things to turn heat into energy, and they were emitting little particles that would cause the thing to over time accelerate.
So then, how can you ride? How can you use a sail? How does it work?
I feel like this is a whole podcast in itself.
What is the Higgs field?
You can absorb energy, but there's no mass. Can you?
I don't understand. We need to fire up that science channel in the Discord.
Just have a like a like streaming loop of just Bill Nye.
What is QFT? Quantum something or other?
It's yeah, quantum Fourier transforms.
Quantum field theory. I don't know, man.
Hey, we got the quantum right. We got the quantum right. Sean, can you put something on other than this ridiculous animation?
No, I'm just watching it.
Oh my god. Oh, Light Sail 2. What happened to Light Sail 1?
Shot it into space.
And
It fell over. It sank and it fell over to the swamp and sank.
it says it says deployed.
Yeah, I don't know. It's somewhere in the world.
It's somewhere in the world shot.
A mini DVD. Beautiful. Includes a list of Planetary Society members. That's me.
Are you
Kickstarter
serious?
backers and selfies to space. I didn't send a
Oh my-
selfie, so
You're there. You're somewhere soon to be deployed into space.
I'm like the Beatles, right? They put me on a disc and shot me into space.
That was Carl Sagan helped put that together, right? That record, the golden record.
Yeah.
God, I remember reading about that in my got one of those science books here. Back when Pluto was still a planet. I don't know where it is.
I don't understand it. I know the word Faraday. Mostly because of Lost. All right, Thomas. All right, break it down. If I wanted to learn more about this via a book or something, what should I get? Should I just go get a textbook? Should I just sit in my room and read a textbook every morning? I always get a reference. Perfect. Poor Paul. Yeah. Oh man. Doesn't Neil deGrasse Tyson have the he has astrophysics. I don't know the difference. I can't copy and paste that link, sadly. Actually, hold on, I can. Here. Modern Quantum Mechanics, second edition. Oh my god. One new for $408.
All right. I found my Bible.
Spent a lot of money on textbooks, I bet.
This book, man. Look, it's got Hubble right on it. Over and over and over and over, I read this book. I gave a bunch of books to the library, but I kept this one.
Bam! One more time. It's all you now.
So check the copyright on this bad boy.
So I searched how can dumb people like me learn quantum mechanics. Hi. Am I too dumb to learn about quantum physics? Let's click on this.
1994.
This Reddit post is vintage 1994. Hi, so I've been recently trying to learn and understand more about quantum physics. My problem is that I am not smart, and I realize that I can't remember stuff. Hey,
Right?
Hey, take it easy, Paul. I identify with this right here.
Not gonna focus.
Lectures on quantum mechanics. No nonsense quantum field theory. $30. Yeah, no, I actually will probably like look at a book like this because I want to understand. It's interesting to me. And I need a new book because I just finished the other book that I had, so. Anyhow.
Oh, it's too bad Paul went away. I was gonna ask him about this app review nonsense.
Yeah.
It's too bad.
I probably need to jet soon too.
All right. Yeah, you just hanging on by a thread there.
Yeah. I should probably eat something. I'd probably wake up a little bit.
A little too late for coffee, huh?
Oh, I had my 4 p.m. coffee.
Jesus.
It doesn't work.
Need something stronger, man. Why are you wearing a jacket, by the way?
It's cold here.
What? It's California.
Yeah, but like the water's not that far away, so it's like a
You're
wet,
in
cold.
space, Sean. Space doesn't have a temperature. You're insulated.
Yeah, you would just die immediately.
That scene from I saw that movie Mission to Mars when I was at a young and impressionable age of middle school with my new middle school friend, and it's not a good movie at all by any stretch. But that one scene that stuck with me was the guy friggin' taking off his helmet and his face froze like a freaking. It turned blue like the crap that comes out of a jet airplane, like like the blue like frozen blocks that crash on your house. That's what his head looked like. It was like. That was traumatizing for me. Mission to Mars. Don't watch it. It's terrible. There's like a face on
I've never
Mars.
seen it.
It's not good. Well, it's based off of like there is a real feature on Mars that looks like an alien head. And like I think the whole movie was just based around the premise of that being a real thing. Anyway, What was the point? You get your spacesuit on. Keep yourself warm.
You know, like everyone from the East Coast always asks me about my jacket every time they see me on a call, especially the guy
swishy?
from Maine.
Can you swish it?
It's really big. I can, yeah. As you can see, I can like
There you go.
scrunch it up. No,
This
he's
one
like,
here's a swishy noise.
oh, I don't think it does that. No, it's not like windbreaker material. It just has a fake down in it.
Are you from the Coast Guard?
It's just cold outside, all right?
That was a reference.
It's cold.
Reference, Sean.
All right. Well,
Well, hold on.
I should go eat something
Okay.
real quick.
This has been fun. I think my future me already hates current me for whatever got recorded. So this is gonna be fun to edit.
Just leave it in.
Maybe I will. Maybe this is maybe return a new page. And it does not compute podcast verse. Sorry for being so late, by the way, this week with the editing. I was just super burnt out, and I'm still burnt out, but I just burnt out in procrastinating.
Hey, but you always do a good job, see?
I appreciate that. I really do. So I've just got to keep it up, I guess. All right.
All right, everybody. Thanks
Get
for
outta
stopping by.
Make yourself at home, relax, take off your jacket, put your feet up.
Thomas, check that book out. I think you'd really like it, and I want to know what you think about it. I'll send you a link. Obey the laws.
I don't really have a choice.
Yeah, I don't think I have a choice.
If I didn't obey the laws of physics, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I'd be a lot richer.
Good luck.
Kotlin instead of
Good
Java.
luck.
I mean, it seems like an absolute win. I don't know much about Kotlin, but I know it can't be much worse than Java. Good luck. Godspeed. All right, Sean. You're
All right.
The microphone is keeping your head up at this point.
Yeah.
Talk to you later.
See ya.
Bye, everyone.